Well, hello, YouTube. It has been a minute. I am Pearl from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned In Tarot. And we are about to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine energies inside of ourselves. Understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see it reflected back to us in our interactions with one another, in our external environment, in our ability to manifest the things that we desire. So, we're doing a general energy check in, which means we're just going to look at what is in the headspace and heart space in depth for masculine and feminine. And then Wednesday, we will do unblocking obstacles. And then Friday, we will do releasing and rebuilding spread. So, I'm back. Yay. Okay. Let's start with divine masculine because he had a lot of cards showing and he's overthinking. And the first thing on his mind, the top of the deck forefront overall thing consuming his mind is overthinking. So that tracks. Here it is, the Nine of Swords from the Housewives Tarot. I just noticed this lady here holding a butcher knife. That's terrifying. There's some like misery energy there. So there's a lot of things on his mind. And it's the kind of thing where it's like none of it's really real. It's all just illusions. It's all just anxieties, things that are bothering him as he's trying to make his way in the direction that he really wants to go in. Um, so he's just feeling really anxious, and there's self-sabotaging energy here because there is like a tendency towards pessimism. So there is sort of this energy of like, everything I tried doesn't work. It's probably not going to go well. Nothing I do works out. And that is functioning to, well, I think it's feeding, it's like a feedback loop. It's causing and exaggerating the niggling thing in the back of his mind, which is this Five of Wands energy, where we have a divine feminine cleaning up all these messes. It's also looking like these appliances have gotten out of control. The Wands energy in the Housewives deck is all different kinds of tools that we would use for cleaning. So there's a sense here that he's been stuck cleaning up this mess, or there's or divine feminine might be overwhelmed by like the mess that he's made. um he's worried about it. He's worried about her kind of like seeing the mess and just being like, whoa, this is like way more than I thought it was going to be. And like, I can't handle it. So there's just like, he's just really concerned about this. He's also feeling this blocked with in regards to her by his own fears. There is some energy of physical harm too. Like, there is actually worry about physical harm there for some. The first thing on his mind is the Three of Wands rather in reverse. So this is an impatient feeling. We also got this card yesterday in the fantastic reading with Grace Strega, if I do say so myself, that had so much synchronicity and it was unbelievable. So we did actually already see this card yesterday, and it was in its reverse as well because there is an it's time kind of a feeling. And yesterday, the ones in that card were like on fire and burning. And in this case, we're seeing this again, cleaning up the mess type energy. A divine feminine who has been like, looks like she's done, like waiting for something to happen. And it's the first thing on divine masculine's mind is her impatience and his impatience to get to her. The next thing on his mind is the Eight of Wands. So, wanting to send messages. Look at this Wands energy. This is we're four cards in, and three of them are Wands. So, there's fire and passion here. There's a lot of a desire for communication. Um, and there's blocked communication between the masculine and feminine energies. And this, I think, is what divine masculine is like trying to think his way out of. Like, I can't communicate with her this way or this way. So how can I communicate with her? It's like she's blocked the ways I've tried, something like that. There's some kind of energy like that. Um, I think also he's realizing that divine feminine's impatience with him is also minimizing the amount of communication she's willing to have with him as well. So it's also not just her blocking him from communicating, but also her being really kind of either not communicating with him at all or sparingly, very sparingly, not satisfyingly for him. And he has an awareness that it's coming from this Page of Pentacles energy, which is in reverse. And this is this, I mean, look at it. It's like, I'll help. And mom's like, thank you, honey, for helping me. Now you have to replace all these dishes because you broke all of them. But I saw your intention. It was cute. And I love that you want to help me out. But like, you're not helping though. You're just like, maybe you just wait over there and like, I'll do it. So there's this energy associated with this card. He was like, I'm going to do these little things, and these little things I'm doing are going to be great. She's going to love them. She's going to love them so much. And then he's realizing that, like, all these little things that he was sending to her, she's either not receiving, can't receive, doesn't get when she receives it. Like, this is a super frustrating energy for him. The next thing on his mind is the Queen of Cups. She's got his drink ready for him. She's all ready to hear about his day. She's loving, caring, compassionate, kind. She can navigate her emotions. And it's exciting to see her in his headspace because there is an integration there with his feminine side, with his willingness to be like this, to be compassionate, kind, caring, and navigate his emotions and not be emotionally manipulative. And he's impatient for this Queen of Cups energy. He's impatient to be sitting here receiving this love and attention from her because she's not been giving as much attention because, I mean, why? You must, receive reciprocal attention. So she's like not being as forthcoming as normal. And he realizes that it comes from his mishandling of the situation. So the next thing on his mind in regards to this Eight of Wands energy is the Seven of Swords energy. And this is not here today in a third party way, so you can stop worrying about it. It's 100% about strategizing, being clever, being sly, and really kind of finding a way that isn't so small and insignificant to be able to actually approach this Queen of Cups energy with some major communication. About this Ten of Swords. Here's this completion. We got the Ten of Swords yesterday. It was in its reverse yesterday because yesterday it was really about the end of separation. And today it's also about the end of separation, but it's about the feeling of being stuck in separation until this Ace of Cups is completely poured out. And remember, the Housewives Tarot, if you've seen my readings before, and we've talked about this at length, this is a cup that is empty, that's waiting to be filled up. And so to see it like this, for me, is it's finally being poured out. There's that emotional control that Divine Masculine has. And really what we're just looking at is the strategy for how to end the separation by finally pouring out this cup in a major gesture, not in such a small manner. that divine masculine has been trying to express all this love that he feels, but because he's had to do it with this mask on or secretly or behind the scenes because of people watching or because of a past relationship, whatever your storyline is, because of that energy, it's been this really painful process to be able to try now to completely open up and reveal everything to divine feminine. All right, let's look at the top of the deck for the heart space for divine masculine. We have the Four of Cups energy, and I think there's quite a bit of there's already union when I look over at divine feminine side. So we have this Four of Cups energy, which is an energy about fantasy, dreams. It's about focusing on these three cups and not necessarily realizing that this cup is being offered. It can have those connotations. It can be about meditation. It can also be about grounding because it's about going into nature and getting on the earth, right? Sitting on the earth and being here in nature. And this is a card from the Tattoo Tarot, which doesn't even have any figure in it like we normally see. Instead, there's this hand with this beautiful flower, and this is where the fourth cup is coming from. And it's like this offer. So to me, his heart is prepared to ground the union by making this gesture here, this large gesture. And there's this fantasizing and theorizing, because we've got theorizing in the headspace and fantasizing in the heart space about this event, which requires this either secrecy or surprise element because he's made such small gestures. Like now he wants to make a much larger one, or continuing to need to make gestures behind the scenes if he's not fully capable of ending the separation, but wants to make some kind of an overt gesture that will help deal with divine feminine's impatience. The niggling feeling in his heart space is the Seven of Cups in reverse. So there's no intention here for him to dabble in other options. But if we look at the niggling feeling in the head space, which was the Five of Wands with this divine feminine energy and this mess here, we see this snake-like energy coming from this Seven of Cups, which can have a meaning of like being confused, not knowing which options to choose, seeking like enlightenment from the divine in order to make your choice, however that may be. But when we're seeing it in its reversal, what I'm thinking of is this feminine having a lot of options herself, right? And being stuck. And this is also cleaning up the mess that divine masculine has made, kind of, and it having to do with this other energies, these other options that he has, I don't know, kept available to him in case it didn't work out. Oh, I love that energy for you, divine masculine. Go away, ego. Okay, anyway. So the first card coming up in his heart space, clarifying this Three of Wands in reverse or impatience, is impatience. So do we think he's impatient? He's impatient. Divine feminine's impatient. We're all impatient. And impatience comes from just the fear that you're going to lose something. It's kind of like jealousy or envy. It's the same sort of a thing. It's like you're afraid that you're gonna there's a timeline and you're gonna lose the thing that you want, or you're gonna have to accept defeat in some way, or it's just discomfort with what it is that you desire because you're not quite convinced that it's actually coming, because you don't feel impatient when you're assured of the arrival. Like when I was pregnant, and you finally get past the point where if the baby comes early, most likely everything's going to go okay. You know, it's not going to be too premature that it will have to be in the hospital for months on end, and etc. once you hit that point in your pregnancy, there's a little bit less impatience. And especially when you're getting towards the end, you even start to fear a little bit. And you're just sort of like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready. Like it's about to happen. Oh my God. And especially if you've never done that before, like the fear and anxiety of what the pain is gonna be like, that's debilitating to a certain extent in this process. So it's like it's an intense thing, right? And the impatience that happens during that time comes from an insecurity about the outcome. It's like the more impatient you are, the more concerned you are about whether or not it's going to work out. And so there is an element here I'm seeing for this divine masculine energy. It's like he's impatient because he's still insecure. And then we have the Queen of Swords energy. And this is from the Tattoo Tarot. And she is disembodied in this card. She is actually turned into the ace almost. And this is a really, really fascinating card. And there's this freedom here. There's these wings here. Very, very interesting. This is a divine feminine that cuts right through to the quick. Normally, I don't think of like psychic powers associated with Queen of Swords. Very much more associate that with the Queen of Cups. But what I'm seeing here is that like divine feminine's connection to her intuition create these like this power of perception that like is just she sees right through to the truth of things. Divine masculine is both counting on that and also afraid of that to a certain extent because she's not going to take any bullshit. The Queen of Swords is just, she's going to cut out any energy that doesn't serve her. And she's also, I mean, this is something that divine masculine really respects about her, as well as her intellect and her ability to be discerning. So he's hopeful that as he sends these messages to this divine feminine and that he will receive them, that she's going to be able to understand them, that they're going to be clear to her, because he doesn't want to make these small gestures anymore. He wants to make these really big gestures. Here's the sun upright, no longer in reverse like we saw yesterday in the shadow, in the Grace Drager reading. We're seeing this with him feeling absolutely, first of all, fulfilled, spiritual fulfillment and happiness. Again, we have another image where we're not seeing the inner child. We're not seeing any figures in this image. It's really just the sun itself and its power to, I mean, it gives life. It's this life-giving energy. It's the divine masculine energy also. And divine masculine he's only done this because he wanted to give this. And it's like, yeah, you know, the intention was to bring happiness, and he just wants divine feminine to be able to understand this, that the messages he sent, the way that he communicated, it was because he was impatient to show her that he wanted to bring her this happiness. That's all he wanted. He just wants to give her what he thinks a lot about she desires, right? This fantasy that he thinks she desires. And he's wanting her to understand that's why everything that has happened has happened. This Queen of Cups, it's being clarified by this Judgment card in reverse. And this is really about that reconciliation. It's about that facing off of the aspects of self that have given in to addiction and codependency and ego, and the parts of the self that have remained pure and heart-centered and in service. And finally coming forward before someone and explaining and hopefully receiving an apology, receiving some kind of forgiveness. And there's a desire here that he that he has learned not to judge himself so harshly. And he's hopeful that this divine feminine, once she understands, oh, everything that I did to try to make her happy because I was so impatient to be able to do that. And I hope she won't judge me harshly for this. This hiding, this seven of swords energy, the masking, this is something that divine masculine has been healing for a long time, and it comes from a deep and ancient wound. It's like this deck has 6 cards in it that appear with earlier iterations and later iterations because the artist refined her technique and she decided to go back and revisit earlier cards. So this is the earliest version. This is actually the first card that she designed also for the deck. So divine masculine is trying not to judge himself too harshly for the secrecy and the masking, because what he was hiding was this really traumatic event that happened much long before he ever laid eyes upon the divine feminine or had any idea that this would ever happen. And it was something I think that divine masculine thought that he could just continue to hide and no one would ever see it. But as John Lennon says, one thing you can't hide is when you're crippled inside, right? And divine feminine's discernment, this allowed her to see him this way, and her complete acceptance of him in this way is what has made him feel this love and this happiness and fulfillment. And then we have the 10 of Cups in reverse. And again, this is in a deck where there are multiple versions of this card. This is the newest version. This is the most recent version. And it's clarifying the 10 of Swords and the Ace of Cups in reverse. And it's this feeling that there is this happiness here, right? We see it right above the 10 of Cups in reverse. But divine masculine can't enjoy it until the separation ends, until he actually reveals what it is that he truly desires. All right, let's go to divine feminine side. Oh, there is a card. This is interesting. Okay, 7 cards. Gotta flip everything over for her. Oh my god. Stop. We have all the aces. We have every ace today because we had the Ace of Cups over here. And we have the Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords, and Ace of Cups again. Well, shit. All right. Top of the deck, overall headspace, forefront of the mind for divine feminine. The Ace of Wands in reverse, and I just have to laugh because this card came up for divine feminine yesterday upright, and we had a talk, Grace Strega and I, about the sexy energy from this card. And divine feminine, it was like at the forefront of her mind. It was distracting her, and so she's like trying not to be distracted by her desire for union. It is very, very powerful desire, and it's not just about sexy times either. It is really about being in union, about sharing her life, her body, her mind, her heart, everything, right? Everything. So she's working really hard not to be distracted, and also having a sense that when you're in a state of wanting something or longing for something, you can't have it because you're experiencing the lack of it, and you want to experience its fulfillment, not its lack. So she's working on that. And look at the niggling feeling in the back of her mind. We've seen it already. Here it is, the Eight of Wands, except for divine feminine, it's in reverse because she's not hearing anything. This is also part of what's distracting her. She's feeling secure. But when she doesn't hear anything, she has to suppress this desire to hear anything. She has to manage the way that it feels to be in the dark, right? This is a wand that is, you know, it's light and it's lighting up this darkness. It's like providing this light in this dark. So she has to be in the dark, not knowing what's going on. And that can be really distracting to her. Put her into that masculine energy of thinking herself into this overwhelmment. This is so relatable to me. I have a lot of shit to do. There's motion in my divine masculine side of self that's like, let's go get this shit done. Let's be in the Queen of Swords energy. Let's fucking do it, man. And then my feminine side of myself right now is like, hang on a minute. Like, hang on a minute. You're getting distracted by some other stuff and you need to like pull back and hold back. And this isn't even about messages to the divine masculine or anything like that. This is literally about not being quite able to go with the flow right now, resisting this desire to go with the flow, which is causing tension, which divine masculine is picking up on in regards to him. But it's actually not about him. It's about everything that divine feminine has to do right now. It's like divine masculine is getting this intuition that this is divine feminine state. And it's not about him, but he sort of internalizes it because of that paradigm that we have, ego-based relationship that we've had for so long. First thing on her mind, the Four of Cups. And in this way, she's meditating here, and it looks like she's taken her focus off of these cups, and she's putting it entirely into this fantasy, which was what she's trying to distract herself from. So there's a sense here that, and look, we don't get this sense of grounding as much from this. She's sort of floating off in space here. We've got palm trees that indicate stability, so we get the grounding energy from this card, but she's a little bit in her fantasy. She's a little bit like in the process of figuring everything out. I'm going to give myself a pass, especially when I look at the next cards that are coming up. I felt a lot of pressure. I have to do a storyboarding for a video. I have to get my website up. I have to get the master done. I have to, actually do the PR behind stuff, even though my instinct is telling me that the advice I'm getting is probably not even that good. I still have to do it. And instead, I'm just retreating. And I'm thinking a lot about the storyboard and about what I want to do for the video, but that makes me feel like I'm not doing anything because I'm not physically doing anything. And then I get stuck in this feeling like I'm not going with the flow and I'm like hard on myself about it. It's this kind of energy. And it has nothing at all to do with divine masculine. The next thing on her mind, though, is the Wheel of Fortune. Now, this is absolutely going with the flow, and I think this is what her desire is. She wants to just surrender this to a certain extent to divine intervention, to her fate, to her destiny. And she's sort of believing it's like if I connect, I meditate, and I receive inspiration, and I do only what I'm inspired to do, then this wheel is going to turn in my favor, and I'm going to experience this fortune. This is also about her having done energetic work to create prosperity for herself. She feels that the next shift or movement is going to be one of great change. This Two of Swords is in its reverse because the standstill that she has felt she has been in is over. There's no more standstill. She's choosing to put her desire for union aside at this moment to be able to do what she is called to do by her destiny. It's difficult to be honest with herself. Here's the Ace of Swords in reverse. She's realizing that she has often chosen these old behaviors, right? This is this fantasy energy. This is this energy where you're stuck in this pattern where you have a feeling that, you know, if you just create this fantasy, if you think your way through it, although for divine feminine it's about feeling it, then she's going to be able to finally see like a new way or a new path. But you can't open a new door with old keys, right? You need like a new key. And then look at the union. The Ace of Cups in reverse. Just like divine masculine. And it's funny because this card also in this deck is not your typical Ace of Cups. It's also empty. It's not filled up. Like other cups are filled up and overflowing. I guess you could kind of feel this as filled up. But divine feminine almost looks like she's pouring out this toxic stuff that's been in the cup. There's also a feeling here about this offer of love just not being destined to happen right now. And her feeling like her realizing like this is an old experience. It's like she fantasizes about receiving the cup. And then, you know, destiny ensues. The standstill is over. She doesn't see anything new. She still sees no cup. And the ending result for her then is the Lovers in reverse. So she's just sort of like, I am releasing this fixation on this union because I can't have what I am in a state of wanting. So if I just choose to let this go and not think about it, I guess I'll be happier. This is her feeling. She's working hard at this. She's working really hard to remain detached from this outcome because she can see how debilitating it has been, how it keeps her in a standstill, waiting and waiting. We had the Ace of Wands as the top of the deck in the headspace, and the top of the deck in the heart space is the Ace of Pentacles. So it is what she desires. She desires this offer. And it's not just from a divine masculine energy. It's prosperity and abundance in general. It's this feeling that what she wants is like sticking. I keep thinking of the Muse tarot, which has in the Eight of Wands in the Muse tarot, there's this like, it looks like she's trying to like push through some kind of a finish line or something. And the energy is like sticking, like she can't quite do it. And there's this feeling here. She's like, as long as I'm focused on this lack of motion and unable to go with the flow, I won't be able to receive this, even though I feel the presence of this. I feel this potential wealth. The niggling thing in the heart space, the niggling feeling is the Six of Swords in reverse. And this kept coming out for me yesterday when I was reading just in general for myself. And I kept seeing this over and over again. The Six of Swords in reverse is about not quite learning a lesson, which makes sense with this Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups in reverse. But Divine Feminine has an awareness that there's a lesson that she still hasn't quite learned, or else she would be able to see this fulfillment. There's also a resistance when the Six of Swords is in reverse to the uncertainty that's associated with it. She doesn't know what to expect, and therefore it doesn't feel that safe, right? So there's a desire, I think, also to move, to relocate, to get out from where she is, and a feeling like this movement just isn't happening and she can't quite figure it out. All right, continuing into the heart space. Oh, I hate this. Okay. The Lovers in reverse in head and heart space. So this ability to manifest her desire is feeling stuck. And she's wanting to ground this energy. She's wanting this to become a reality, but it's trapped in this fantasy. And she's feeling really frustrated by this feeling that her victory is so close, but always eluding her. And that it has something to do with this fate, this destiny, and the way that this wheel is turning, and that she doesn't really have much control over it. It's like almost there. It's like if these cards were all upright, this would be a completely different reading. Divine Feminine is almost but not quite there. And oh my God. Yeah, just to emphasize that, we have the Nine of Wands upright, which is an isolation. It is about deep healing, and it's clarifying this Two of Swords in reverse. So it's like Divine Feminine is choosing isolation. She's choosing to kind of remain off by herself and just continue to like lick these wounds, which are about how she almost had what she desired and she either lost it or didn't quite manage to enjoy the spoils of the war, the victory that she felt she wanted. It's just, she's just choosing to just continue this healing process, knowing that there's some lesson that she hasn't quite learned yet. But this progression that I was saying, this she's almost there, but not quite. The Nine of Wands, what does this result in? Clarifying this Ace of Swords in reverse, the Ten of Cups. This mirrored Ten of Cups for divine masculine energy. And it's even right next to each other in the spread. The Sun is right next to the Lovers, and the Ten of Cups right next to the Ten of Cups, or mirrored to divine feminine. And this is I think the truth that's difficult for her to embrace, that it's not about this physical union, but that it really, really, really is about the spiritual one. She's like, okay, but can I have sex still though? It's about the spiritual union and stuff, but like, am I gonna be alone for the rest of my life in spiritual union with you? Which, fine. I guess some people do that. Great, spirit. And so while she feels spiritual fulfillment, while she feels this potential for this happiness, it's still that kind of thing where she's even thinking like, it's here, but it's not quite here, which means that I'm not quite fulfilled on my own. And that truth is what's blocking her. The Ace of Cups in reverse. I'm not quite fulfilled on my own, right? Divine masculine senses this from divine feminine because he feels this too. This is the emotional Queen of Cups side of himself. And we know that he feels the same because this card is in reverse. I'm not quite enough on my own. This is what's blocking the both of them. And then, oh my God, you should definitely go watch the reading with Grace Trigger from yesterday after this reading. Holy moly. Clarifying this Lover's card in reverse. We have the Page of Pentacles in reverse, which we already saw clarifying the Sun card for Divine Masculine. And the Knight of Swords in reverse, which we saw a bunch of times yesterday in the reading. So, Divine Feminine is blocked because this masculine energy has consistently made small, ineffective gestures towards what it is that she desires and has either held himself back or become very reckless and not thoughtful about strategy or how he was making these gestures. Now, remember, this is her action side of self. So she is assessing that in her own journey towards manifesting this project she's working on, a career or goal or a relationship, she has either been reckless, untruthful, thoughtless, had inconsistencies, and made small and ineffective gestures towards what it was that she desired. But this is what is causing her to choose to be alone. She's like, if I can't do this for myself, then what good am I? Here's the thing. Just because you're healing and just because you have had experiences that require forgiveness does not mean that every other aspect of yourself is like in the toilet. It's not like, oh, I'm still seeking fulfillment outside of myself. I guess I should give up then. What? You have transformed yourself. Like you've transformed yourself. Are you even as like close to being at all like you were a year ago? Not in this collective. So it's not like you're at this point like, oh, I still haven't learned my lesson. I guess I'll never have union. Again, the physical union is not the goal. So why would it be the result of you learning the lesson? The physical union is gonna happen. It's gonna happen. The lesson will be learned whether the physical union happens or not, because this is the lesson that you asked the divine to teach you. Please teach me this so I can be successful and have the things I desire, so I can learn how to do that. And the divine was like, okay, bitch, you ready for some towers? Because that's how I teach around here when you're in this standstill energy all the goddamn time. Blocked and shit. Divine Feminine was like, okay, I guess. All right, let's look at the oracles. Divine Masculine. Now, we're back to doing some sexy energy. I decided to pull out my sluttest tarot again. I was reminded of it yesterday when we had our reading with Grace Draga. I had almost forgotten about it. Divine Masculine. Why am I not surprised about your sexy energy? We are getting the Ace of Coins or the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. We already saw the Ace of Pentacles today. Here it is. And the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups. All the aces came today because there's an offer here. There's an offer that you want to make and you're withholding it. So you're withholding your sexual energy, but that's good because you're not spreading your seed amongst the flock, which is positive, I think, especially with the warnings we've been getting lately. Do not fuck with those warnings, man. Be careful. Anyway, you're withholding your sexual energy. You're holding it back. There's a lot there. There's this desire for like this nourishing, prospering, creative, abundant, like energy. But you're holding it back. It's not quite ready yet. To emphasize this is your archetype, the monk. Divine Feminine should feel pretty good about this since you are not putting it out there. But this is selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. So you are no longer in negative judgment of the physical world or excess piety if that was a problem for you. You are in a really healthy, selfless devotion and dedication to spirit. Withholding sexual gratification is an element of devotion because it is an energy that should be utilized for creativity. And I don't mean that in terms of like the Catholic, every single time you have sex results in a child. But every single time you come into sacred union, it is about creating that connection, that bond with another being. And it is sacred and powerful. And so there's a respect there from you in regards to that. we're getting your guardian angel supporting you in this sweetness energy. You're dealing with a Queen of Swords here. So you want to be sweet, but not too sweet because she's going to be like, why are you being so sweet? And this is also about being sweet to yourself and not being so hard on yourself. When I'm connected to my joyful presence, I attract support from the universe. This was in its reverse. And it's interesting because I would say that you have this joy, right now. Oh, and I forgot to mention this Nine of Wands that was in union with Divine Feminine. Bam! You both are in isolation, but this is you being in isolation from the past and wanting to come out of it now. But the fact that this card is in reverse, that these two cards in reverse is really striking to me because I feel that once you connect to that joyful presence, which for me is when we move from how am I going to do this? What am I going to say? How are we going to make that happen? How is this going to happen? How is this going to happen? How is she going to react? How is da da da? When you shift from that energy into why, that's when you're connecting to your joyful presence. Why do you want this to happen? Well, because it makes you really fucking happy. Okay? Why? Why does it make you happy? Well, because it gives you a reason to see someone through the eyes of Source. When you're in love with somebody, you see them as Source sees everyone all the time, right? Empathically. Understanding every single decision and choice is this ripple effect of the deep worthiness of their being and their closeness to that understanding, how close or far they are from embracing their worthiness. My hair to be trimmed. So connect with that joyful presence. When you connect with the why, that's how you attract the support from the universe because you put yourself into that place where you feel its potential and possibility. Happiness. We have so much happiness here. The sun, the joyful presence, the 10 of cups. Just fucking embrace it, man. Don't let your past hold you back. Hang on, I have a knock at my door. 1 second. I'm doing a live broadcast, but you can go look at it if you want to. It's pretty bad. In the bathroom and then in the bedroom. What's that? Don't let the past hold you back. Thank you. Got a bad leak in my bathroom, like bad. The wall is, I don't know what's going to happen in there. So don't let the past hold you back. Then we have trust the niggling feeling. What's niggling feeling? We've got the 5 of Wands and the 7 of Cups in reverse. How do we look at this niggling feeling for you? Well, I would guess some part of it is that you're blocked in regards to Divine Feminine having choices, that there's this fear here that you have that she has other options. And the fact that she has other options makes you feel like in this insecurity. And so the niggling feeling is to release this fear of the Divine Feminine having other options. This is also about you continuing to stay in your monk energy and not entertaining other options or ideas or fantasies about other options either. Because what is keeping you blocked is this like escape plan feeling that you have Divine Feminine has if it doesn't go well. But if you're honest with yourself, it's only your own projection of your own escape plan, right? So having to understand that you keeping your options open and your fear of Divine Feminine doing the same thing is blocking you from making any progress with her. So that was trust the niggling feeling. And then we have also deep replenishment, retreat, rest, and be held. Now, this Four of Cups energy is definitely a rest energy. And retreat, I'm seeing retreating from the niggling feeling, because also the niggling feeling was in reverse. It's almost like your niggling feeling is fear based and it's a projection, and you need to retreat from that. You need to rest and be held in this confidence that divine feminine doesn't want other options. And then we're getting squirrel spirit, which is believe in yourself. And this is 57. I don't think I've gotten this one very much. You have accumulated wisdom and experience and are surrounded by all you need. An abundance of resources is available to you through the generosity of spirit and all your hard work. Squirrel spirit shows up when you need reminding that the acorns you have gathered and stowed away have enormous potential to grow. So relax into knowing there is always enough and you have what it takes to co create the reality you want to experience. Through diligent preparation, you have gained wisdom and strength. How much potential you have. Believe in yourself, for spirit believes in you and wants you to know you have enough and are enough. Doesn't that truth make you feel safe and secure? It should, for you have everything you need right now. Believe, divine masculine. All right, divine feminine, let's look at you. Damn. Okay, so your sexy energy is also in the reading. We got the Ace of Pentacles in reverse for divine masculine, and we're getting the Six of Swords in reverse for you, and power in reverse for you. So you this is very much about you, I think, having fear of intimacy, a fear of the uncertainty of you. In the past, you had been in sort of relationships where you surrendered your power, you gave up your power, you were maybe submissive. And it might have been because you thought you were supposed to be, not because you truly desired to. There could have actually been really negative energy there, like somebody that was dominating you, or there could be even an assault that happened as well. So there's a real fear here about moving forward and moving on from the past in regards to where you once were sexually. And that monk slash nun energy of this withholding of the sexual energy might have something to do with this from the feminine side of self as well. Some feeling of this surrendering of power in a sexual experience is still intimidating to you right now. So you are most likely doing that healing in regards to this energy, healing this potential trauma that's there. You are in the light attributes right now of the Samaritan, which refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. And it's really moving away from the shadow attribute, which is exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer. So you're no longer, you're just doing this stuff because you can see how good it makes you feel and how that ripples out to others. And you're not trying to, have everybody pat you on the back all the time, be like, oh, you're so good and you do everything for me and you're so selfless. And you no longer need that kind of affirmation or validation to feel like what you're doing is, it's like you're committed to this mission work. The Holy Spirit is here. I feel this presence so strongly. Like in the past, financial worries, things that I have coming up, like I have so much stuff on my plate right now that if I started talking about it, I probably would cry, except that I feel this peace. I feel a lot of peace, as in, like, don't worry. Like everything is working out just as it's meant to. And the thing about the peace from the Holy Spirit is, while it does bring this calm, it also brings this fire, this powerful fire within you. And then we're getting Saint Teresa of Lisieux, the little flower in reverse. And this is steady progress. And there's an emphasis here on the progress that you have been making, but also I think an acknowledgement that this slow and steady thing is really something of the past. Like you are prepared to receive the full blessing of the universe, and it's not going to come slow anymore. It's going to come with a big old bang. And it's because of the steady progress that you have made. I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. And I had a dream about an owl, and I keep thinking about it, but I don't remember exactly what happened in the dream, but I keep thinking of that dream. I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. And there's also there's a 4 of Cups energy about this going within, or even a 2 of Swords too, where it's like we go within, we go inward, and we're doing whatever we possibly can to just get into alignment with our life purpose. And this is upright, and there's a real positive energy here. It goes with that Samaritan card. It goes with peace. It's like surrendering to our life purpose. We can see how that guides us, and that as we get closer to consciousness, all that we hear, the only command we hear is just surrender to your life purpose. Surrender to the gifts that I've given you, and to sharing those gifts. That's your only job. Then we're getting this very interesting card, the Void of Course Moon, and nothing will come of this situation. This is about when we're entering into a phase of like, there's no sort of like, it's like not likely to go this way, it's not likely to go that way. It's just sort of, it is. It's like, it's a neutral energy phase of the moon. And to be honest with you, we should be entering into this phase soon because it comes soon after the full moon, I think. So it could be an actual timing card. But it's also just this assurance that I always feel that's like nothing will come of this shit that you're worried about. All these cards in reverse, like, oh, am I gonna be able to experience this? Bitch, yes, you are. Just calm down. Like, just calm down. Nothing will come of all the worries or fears that you have. And then we're getting, where do you need to establish better boundaries? And this was in its reverse. And so I think based on the next card also, which is Snake Spirit, there could be an individual that is not in doing things in your best interest at the moment. And somebody that you really do need to set some boundaries with. And you might have been afraid to set these boundaries, like you might have not wanted to be disruptive in some way. But I feel that it's important that you really do lay down the law with this person and say, like, you know what? No. All right. And then we're getting 55, Snake Spirit, Time to Heal. And we're getting the protection message. I think it's interesting because we both got that 9 of Wands energy. We mentioned the snake because we got that weird 7 of Cups with the snaky divine feminine on it. No matter how much you may have lost or how you have been disappointed, you are called by Snake Spirit to shed the past and practice radical self acceptance now. Only by forgiving yourself can you move on, regardless of whether anyone else is ready for healing. When your tender new skin first becomes exposed, you may feel uncomfortable. Ooh, that's really resonating with this energy that you were getting, the 6 of Swords in reverse energy. Uh, so you may feel uncomfortable. Love yourself and remain vulnerable anyway. You have been weak, but now you are becoming strong and developing wisdom, and you will do better in the future. Snake Spirit reminds you that hearts can be so easily wounded. Apologies and amends go a long way. Self forgiveness for your role in what happened can help you heal. Remember, it is the one who has been wounded who often has the greatest power to help others heal. Wounded healer. Alrighty. Let's look at the final cards for the union. This is what you are in union in regards to. Your sexual energy for both of you is the witch in reverse. And this is the equivalent of the magician card. She's got all her tools of divination, and she's not co creating. When it's in reverse, she's flying solo. She's doing this all on her own. If there's anything happening, it's not collaborative. So the energy is like you might be using tools, you might be using toys. But you're alone. You're not sharing this energy with anyone else. And you also might be afraid of your sexual powers. You might be afraid of your sexual energy. There's a withholding here. Maybe also in the 5D and not just also in the 3D. You are both in the light attributes of the eternal child, which is determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit, and the ability to see things with fresh eyes. And you've released the inability to grow up and be responsible and an extreme dependency on others for physical security. So this is really positive. Um, you're really determined to just remain youthful and just see each other with fresh eyes, and this is like a young love kind of a feeling here, and they're both chasing this butterfly. They're like chasing this transformation, and there's joy there. There's sun energy. That's like a joyful expansion. And then the colors again resonated with this Saint Hildegard von Bingen card with an emphasis on believe. And this is also, I mean, her mission was music and writing, and she was a nun. Like we have the monk nun energy here. So this devotion to your life purpose, to this higher power. When I lean on certainty and faith, I change my mind about the world I see. So you both are really seeing, not just looking, but seeing. And it's because you are believing and putting your certainty and faith in that divine energy. You're getting this compassion card in reverse. You've had so much compassion for one another, and it's been the only thing that has helped you survive this process, because it's been very grueling and a lot of people would have thrown in the towel before now. But your compassion and the service that you feel called to do, it's so compelling that you've absolutely surrendered to it, and you have compassion for yourselves and one another. What do you need to release? There's still energy that you both need to release, and you want to think about that. And what's coming up after that is soul family. Call in your tribe, and you don't have to do it alone. So both of you ending up in this 9 of Wands energy, I think you really need to release this energy of solo work, of feeling like you have to fix yourselves on your own before you can come together. I can see how you would make this mistake, because you think like, oh, I have to fill my own cup to be able to be with someone else. It's true. But you merely have to understand the process of filling your own cup. You don't have to have your cup completely filled and then be perfect and be completely healed to on all on your own to be able to come together and actually co-create. No, you don't. You just need to understand that coming together and co-creating is not going to fill your cup. But knowing that you both need to fill your own cup when you come together is going to allow you to have a very fulfilling union. You are each other's soul tribe. This is this mirrored image, right? You are family, and you need to work together, not on your own. You need to release this idea that you have to do it on your own, that you can do it on your own. And then you're getting Dragonfly Spirit. Truth transcends illusion. We got the 22 and the 55 card today. And this is in its reverse. So it's protection message from the Colette Baron Reed Spirit Animal Oracle deck. And it is, did you really think the world of the senses is all there is? From the hidden mystical realm, signs are being sent to you, but perhaps you have perceived separation and convinced yourself that you are on your own. Have you fallen into spiritual amnesia and forgotten your connection to a living, loving, always supportive universe? If so, rub the sleep out of your eyes, for Dragonfly Spirit is here to remind you of all the love and support available to you in every moment. There is an organizing principle underlying the events that you have experienced. Look at that, Wheel of Fortune. This organizing principle underlying the events that you have experienced. And Dragonfly Spirit can help you see it and trust that Spirit has your back. Let go of the illusion of chaos and randomness. Love is here, so follow the signs that appear serendipitously. As you pay attention to the magic all around you, you will know you are on the right track. And again, this one, have you convinced yourself that you are on your own? You're not on your own. You're not on your own. All right, let's pull some last cards for closing energy so you can have advice for your day. Thank you so much for joining me on YouTube again. Um, Admittedly, it's a lot easier to just use my webcam than to set up my phone, so I like it better. And it already jumped out right away. Please like, subscribe, share, help grow my channel, especially since I haven't been really doing much on it. It's kind of stagnated over the last couple of months. You can click all the links. I don't do Patreon anymore because it was a pain in the ass. I hate asking people for money, so it's not good for me. But there's going to be other ways to support me. I'm going to have an actual services page going up on my website soon, and all kinds of stuff like that. So that's getting sorted over the next month. But for now, you can just jump in my DMs if you need a personal reading. And I can help you out. I can get you sorted. Alrighty, let's see. Also, tuneintarot@gmail.com. Okay, the advice for today. This is what you should do today to come into alignment. I just love when I say that and this card comes out. I'm like, do this today. And the card says, not today. Divine Masculine, you are getting not today, which says not dealing, hurt, avoiding a conversation, a call, or a person, boundaries, and still angry. And it's like there's somebody calling and bitching at you, and you're just like, bitch, not today. And that's coming with looking at your photos, missing you, nostalgia, and making new memories. And there's this not today energy. So, not dealing and avoiding a conversation, instead, looking at photographs, missing you. I think this is saying that rather than do this today, you should maybe not avoid this conversation because you're using this, whatever ability you have to view the feminine energy or the thing that you desire, you're using it to like feed the fantasy energy that you're in your heart space. And doing this, you're avoiding a conversation or a call. You keep putting it off because you keep getting enough satisfaction from just being in this separation and missing divine feminine and whatever. And you're using this to avoid this conversation that needs to take place. So the divine is suggesting to you today that you should not avoid this conversation by focusing on the past. You should release the past, right? Don't let the past hold you back. This feeling of lack and the Two of Wands, this Five of Pentacles, and the Two of Wands, which is like twin flame type of an energy, but it's about waiting, planning. And here's what you do. You focus on these pictures, you focus on this lack energy, and you avoid this conversation by being like, oh, not today. I have to make plans. You should probably stop doing that. So take a look at this energy in yourself. Admit to yourself, be honest with yourself that you have been doing this not today bullshit every single day. Divine Feminine. Okay, bitch. You are getting separation in reverse, sadness, missing you, thinking about you, yearning, unsure of the future. What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. Am I really focusing on that? Yes, bitch, stop doing that. That's why it's in reverse. Instead of focusing on the separation, can you please focus on this butterfly, which we saw in that card of the eternal children chasing this transformation, which is relationship evolving to the next phase, healing the inner child and growth. So instead of focusing on separation, focus on how the separation has caused you to transform so that you can evolve and grow to the next phase of your relationships, which I'm pretty sure aren't going to have a bunch of unreciprocal shit in them anymore because you dealt with it. You've been healing this inner child. How do I know that's true? Because here's your King of Pentacles energy. Divine Masculine over here, he got sad boy energy. 5 of Pentacles. I'm out in the cold. I have to figure out how to make this not be true, but then I'm gonna make my plans about it and look at pictures to avoid having to do this. Take this relationship to the next level. But Divine Feminine, stand your ground. Do not settle for anything less than the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles usually represents a specific iteration of a Divine Masculine energy. In this case, if it's not a specific iteration, then it's going to represent somebody who is absolutely embodying the light traits of this King, which is ability to provide and protect, abundance, very I would say creative. There's the creativity that the Queen of Pentacles has as well. A solid financial foundation, a solid material foundation, right? This is your energy. Therefore, you need to stand your ground and not receive any offers that don't look like this. This Page of Pentacles in reverse today, not interested. If Divine Masculine stops avoiding this conversation and shows up in this King of Pentacles energy, well, now we're talking, right? So hold out for that, Divine Feminine. And then the bottom of the deck for the two of you is addiction and the Queen of Swords. We've got codependent, obsession, possession, controlling, has a block or restraint. Now, we already saw the Queen of Swords today. We saw the Divine Feminine with a block or a restraint on both sides of the spread. And we're looking at codependent, obsession, possession, controlling. Divine Feminine, what is your block? We'll go into it on Wednesday for sure. But this is standing out to me. This is really standing out to me. And this is for both of you, remember? This is the feminine side, the emotional side of self. There is some kind of a loss of power here, controlling partner, some kind of an abuser, could be a sexual aggressor, somebody who could potentially consistently was in this role. And you have a fear of this controlling possession. And there's a narcissist empath paradigm in there that causes codependency. And you need to use your discernment with this Queen of Swords energy. There also, it might have been a feminine energy that was like this. So there could be a mothering energy that caused this sort of behavior that you might want to look at in terms of your healing the inner child. And you also might want to acknowledge that you both had this caregiver in the mix. Alrighty, that is all she wrote. Thank you so much for joining me today. I shall see you on Wednesday, assuming all things go. And then again on Friday, and then Sunday with Grace Drega. Next week, on the 7th and 8th, I will be in the studio. So I don't know if I'll be having a Wednesday reading, but I might shift it to a different day because of that. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. Or maybe I'll just do it. Maybe I'll be very, like, I don't know, industrious and just get right up and do it that day. Who knows? You'll have to stay tuned. Thank you so much for being here. I shall see you again on Wednesday and have a glorious day.